A famous recording artist charged with sexual abuse.
Patriots owner charged with soliciting a prostitute.
And a recap of last night's Oscar winners.
Good morning and welcome to News Watchin'. I'm Ian Quinn.
And I'm Jenny Gill. For nearly the past 2 decades, recording artist R. Kelly has faced many accusations of sexual misconduct. However, on Friday evening, R. Kelly was arrested and taken into custody in Cook County, Illinois. Authorities are accusing Kelly on 10 accounts of aggravated sexual abuse, including 3 victims that are said to be under the age of 17, too young to legally consent. With a hearing the following day, Judge John Fitzgerald set bail at $1,250,000 per victim, with the condition that Grammy Award-winning artists have no contact with females under the age of 18.
New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft has been charged with solicitation of prostitution in Jupiter, Florida. The 77-year-old billionaire is said to have been recorded twice on video engaging in these paid acts at the Orchids of Asia Day Spa. The spa is part of an ongoing investigation into a large-scale sex trafficking ring in which hundreds of arrest warrants have been issued. Mr. Kraft has denied these allegations.
Ariana Grande has made history once again. The Grammy Award-winning artist has just become the first pop star since the Beatles to hold the number 1, 2, and 3 spots on the Billboard Hot 100 simultaneously. 7 Rings, Break Up With Your Girlfriend, I'm Bored, and Thank You Next are all off of Ariana Grande's 5th studio album, Thank You Next, which was released on February 8th of this year. The album also launched to number 1 on the Billboard 200 chart with the biggest streaming week for a pop album. She is the first solo pop artist and only the 2nd act ever to take all 3 spots in the same week.
Thank You Next.
Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir has declared a state of emergency for 1 year in the African country of Sudan. This comes after protests of rising prices and shortages in the country, which turned into calls for the president to step down. Along with declaring the state of emergency, al-Bashir dissolved the federal government as well as removing state governors. These governors have been replaced by members of the Sudanese military. Al-Bashir, who has been Sudan's president since 1993, was charged in 2009 by the International Criminal Court with 3 counts of genocide and is still wanted on these charges.
Amazon is currently mourning a tragedy after an Amazon Prime cargo plane crashed into a bay outside Houston, Texas on Saturday. Police have recovered 2 of the bodies with a 3rd person presumed dead from the Boeing 767 cargo jet that went down on its approach to Houston George Bush International Airport. While National Transportation Safety Board is currently examining the wreckage from the accident, Amazon's SVP of Operations, Dave Clark, released a statement via Twitter stating, "Our thoughts and prayers are with the flight and crew, their families and friends, along with the entire team at Atlas Air during this terrible tragedy. We appreciate the first responders who worked urgently to provide support."
Thank You Next.
In lighter news, although the 91st Academy Awards show did not have a host, it did not stop the big wins during last night's ceremony. Beginning the night with a medley honoring Freddie Mercury, the night featured performances by Bette Midler, Jennifer Hudson, and a captivating duet by Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga. The night also featured big wins for BlacKkKlansman director Spike Lee, who won his first competitive Academy Award in the category for Best Adapted Screenplay. And despite the wins among last night's wings for Black Panther and Roma, it was ultimately Green Book that took home the award for Best Picture of the year.
The fashion industry lost an icon this past week. Designer Karl Lagerfeld passed away from complications of pancreatic cancer. He was the creative director for 3 giant fashion houses, Chanel, Fendi, and his self-titled Lagerfeld label. Lagerfeld constantly adapted to the ever-changing fashion industry, and his designs are considered to be pioneering in the fashion world. He is known for his iconic white hair and black sunglasses, as well as his vagueness on his actual age. He is believed to have been 85 years old at the time of his death.
Thank You Next.
Well, Duke basketball player Zion Williamson is used to being in the news for his highlight reel dunks, but 36 seconds into his first UNC Duke game last Wednesday night, Williamson left the court after injuring his knee. However, the bigger story was that when the 6'7", 285-pound forward landed on his left foot, he slipped and blew his foot completely through his Nike PG 2.5 sneakers. Williamson was forced to miss the Blue Devils' next game against Syracuse, and Nike released a statement saying that they were concerned and that they are currently working to identify the issue. Paul George, whose name is on the sneakers, also reached out to Nike to ask what went wrong.
Can't imagine being in that audience.
I know, must have been quite the experience seeing that.
Absolutely.
Well, coming up after the break, we will discuss the ongoing hunger crisis in Venezuela.
President Trump calls famed movie director a racist.
And a look at this week's weather forecast. Stay right with us. We'll be right back.